So I wanted to just do one more. This one also opens down since it's a negative a. A is negative 1/2. And we use x equals negative b over 2a to find our axis of symmetry. And so I'm going to do the work over here to the right. Our b is negative 1, so this will be x equals negative 1 over 2 times our a is 1/2. So that'll be positive 1 on top, and 2 times 1/2 is negative 1. So x equals negative 1. So all of our axis of symmetries were negative 1, and that does not happen all the time. Just complete coincidence here. My y-intercept will actually be 0, positive 1, because that correlates to my c value. To find my vertex, I take the negative 1 from my axis of symmetry and plug it back into my equation. So that's going to be y equals negative 1/2 times negative 1 squared minus negative 1 plus 1. So that'll be negative 1 squared is 1 times 1/2 is negative 1/2 plus 1 plus 1. So that will be negative 1/2 plus 1 is 1/2 plus 1 is 1/2. So negative 1 and 1/2, or negative 1 and 3/2, or negative 1 and 1.5, whatever you are most comfortable with. So that's right in between 1 and 2. I'm going to use my parent function again, so it's over 1, up 1, over 2, up 4, over 3, up 9 is my standard parent function. If my a value is 1/2 this time and a negative 1/2, I'm going to have to take half of each of these y values, so timesing them by negative 1/2. So 1 times negative 1/2 will be negative 0.5. 4 times negative 1/2 is negative 2. 9 times negative 1/2 is negative 4.5. And I'm going to use the pattern for this will be over 1, down 1/2. So starting here, over 1, down 1/2 leaves me at the point 0, 1. And that's my y-intercept, so that matches up. Then go back to the vertex, then go over 2, down 2, and just be careful because you're in the halfway points. And then over 3, down 4.5. So 1, 2, 3, 4.5. Right there. And then I'm reflecting it over. It's 3 away on the right, 3 away on the left. Notice that this parabola is wider. Since our a was 1/2 or a negative 1/2, that means that our parabola is going to be wider and it opens down. Okay, that's all I had for standard form. So hopefully that was helpful in seeing a couple examples in standard form.